Welcome to Intuitive Defense. My name is Baker. In this video, I'm going to replace an optic battery on one of my pistols. Now this particular pistol I rely on for home defense, so it's pretty important that my optic is fully operational. Even though I have backup iron sights on there, I still want the benefit of the optic. So that's why it's very, very important that I replace this battery. The pistol that we're working on today is my FNX-45, which is chambered in 45. Now, some historians say that 45 is the caliber of the gods. I don't know if that's true or not. I just know that I really dig the 45. And that's one of the reasons why I rely on this pistol, more specifically the 45, for home defense. In my opinion, I think it's a very effective round and will stop whatever threat is coming your way. They definitely won't be pleased if they meet a 45. Before doing anything with the pistol, more specifically the optic, the first thing I'm going to do is just clear the pistol again, even though I've already done it to safe, but I'll do it again for a second time just to verify that it is in fact clear and empty. Even though I don't plan on disassembling it or messing with the trigger or anything else, it's always a good idea if you're going to be handling a firearm in this particular capacity, just to make sure that it is clear and safe. Also, I don't have any live ammunition anywhere around me, so now that I know everything is good with this pistol, I can go ahead and start removing the optic. Now, this particular optic that I run on my FNX-45 is a Trijicon RMR Type 2. So this is one of their newer RMRs, although I've had this one for probably 3 years, maybe a little bit longer. I don't know. I might have only had it for a week. Everything seems the same to me sometimes, which is why I should probably drink more coffee. Moving on. Just like some other optics, this optic is similar in the fact that the battery is kept underneath the optic. I'm not a huge fan of, because in order to change out the battery, you have to remove the optic. I have a few other optics where the batteries are in a location where you can keep the optic mounted onto the firearm and still change out the battery. One of the downsides to having to remove this optic is once you remove the optic, you take it off and you put it back on, you're technically supposed to re-zero the pistol. Chances are the zero is going to hold, but it's still a good idea to confirm zero. That being said, this is a relatively simple process. There's 2 set screws that keep the optic in place. I won't be removing the optic plate, just the optic itself. It should be noted that this particular pistol did not come with the Trijicon optic. There's a few different variants out there where you can get the FNX-45 pistol with a suppressor and an optic. That wasn't the case here. I just purchased the pistol by itself. It already came with suppressor height sights and a threaded barrel, and then also came with different plates to mount different optics onto it. So the optic was purchased after the pistol. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is pull this optic off and then get to the battery. I'll go ahead and back these screws out. What I could have done, if I was smart, which if I was smart being the key word there, is I have a permanent vise mounted right there. I could have placed this in the vise so I don't have to freehand hold it, but where's the fun in that? Like I said, this isn't that difficult of a task, so this won't require anything with the vise. Sometimes it's just easier to have both hands free, but why work smarter when you can work harder? Both screws are completely loose and the optic is ready to be removed from the plate. This here is the plate that the optic mounts to. This comes off, it's not screwed into place, it just has these 2 little pins right here that go into these holes. Depending on the plate, it may use different pins in different locations. This is the RMR footprint plate that came with this particular pistol. That's not important right now, so I'll go ahead and just set this whole thing down. The optic has the battery underneath. Before turning this over and then having both of those screws fall out and bounce off the workbench and go wherever they're gonna go, probably at the same place all of my socks in the dryer go to, I'm gonna be smart for once. I'm gonna turn this optic upside down, drop those screws into my hand. The Real Avid mat has a tray on the side, and that little tray has a magnetic area that'll help hold screws and other small metallic pieces in place so they don't get lost. I'm not sponsored by Real Avid. I have no affiliation with them. I have several of their mats, several of their tools here on the workbench. I'm a big fan of what they make and I plan on continuing to use them And so if you're in the market looking for a mat, I would highly recommend these just because they have that tray on the side to assist. Getting back to the optic itself, this optic uses a CR 2032 battery. I'm gonna go ahead and just pop that battery out, boop, and there it goes. This battery had the positive sign face up when you turn the optic upside down, or it's easier to remember that this battery faces the weapon itself once it's mounted. So I'll go ahead and set this down, get my new pack of 2032s right here, and then struggle for the next 45 minutes to open up this piece of plastic. All I did was just cut a little slit right next to it, not to puncture the battery itself, because then obviously the battery won't be good. Who would have thought that the hardest part of all this would have been opening this up? I could have grabbed my scissors and cut where the little directions on the back tell me to cut, but why would I do that? There's no fun in that. I'd rather struggle through this, look like a dummy on camera because I couldn't get this thing open. All right, so now what we'll do is go ahead and place this back in. There's no bottom plate that holds this battery in place. And so if you're not careful when you're putting it back onto the firearm, that battery may come loose and then the optic won't work. And then you'll think, okay, maybe I have a brand new dead battery or the optic is bad. It could just be that the battery is not properly in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and just turn it on and make sure that it is operational before I mount it. Yep, I see the dot right there. So it is good to go. I'll go ahead and put this back in place right there. Go ahead and put the screws back into place, drop them both in, and then I'll tighten them. I'm not gonna over tighten these or crank them down to where they strip or even possibly break the screw. I'll just hand tighten them. I'll give a little bit to one and then I'll bounce to the other. And then once it's on there, I'll just check again to make sure that I can still see the dot. Yep, there it is. So I'm good to go. I will check the buttons on the side just to see if the dot will dim. It does. If the dot will brighten, and it does. So this RMR is not shake awake or anything like that. It just stays constant on. If you're going to be leaving for a while and this is going to go back into the safe or wherever you may store this, then you can turn the optic off, which is typically what I do if I'm leaving for a while. And I'm not taking this pistol with me, and then when I get back, then I just turn the optic on just to help preserve the battery. A lot of people just leave the batteries on and then once a year they'll change them out. These batteries are typically good for a year plus, no doubt about it, with just running. That battery that I just pulled out of this, I think has been in here for 2 years. A lot of guys, like I said, they'll just change them out yearly. I didn't do that because I just didn't. You may have noticed I didn't put any Loctite on the screws when I set them into place. I don't really use Loctite too often with these, especially these particular optics where I know that I'm gonna have to pull them off at some point to replace the battery. What I could do is take a paint pen and then just draw a little line on each one of the heads of the screws. And then if that line shifts or articulates any, then I know those screws are backing out. I don't do that either. I just regularly check to make sure that they are tight. And that's my method for ensuring that the optic is on there. I'll give it a little bit of a wiggle too. If I feel that it's coming loose, then obviously I know I need to tighten it, or I'll just tighten it, check it, and good to go. That's just my method. It is what it is. What I'm gonna do is take the pistol outside and just do a few rounds for confirmation of zero. And then at another date, then I'll probably put this up on a bench or a rest or even a tripod and really dial into zero again, just to make sure it's good to go. But if I get dings today, then I'm content with that until I'm able to get back out onto the range and redo my zero on this. I have a magazine that has, I don't know, maybe 10 rounds in it, maybe less, maybe more. And all I'm gonna do is just engage these metal targets from about 15 yards and we'll see how this goes. I would say my zero is still pretty good. Wasn't that fun? I love going to the range. Even if it's with just one magazine and a few rounds, confirming zero, nothing special. But hearing those dings on the metal targets is just an enjoyable way to spend my time, especially with the 45. Now the FNX-45 Tactical is something that I had wanted for a very long time. I've had this pistol now for probably 4 or 5 years, maybe even a little bit longer than that. But when FN first dropped this pistol, it was immediately added to my want list, almost need list. I thought that it was just a beautiful pistol, double stack 45 that came ready for so many attachments. FN was one of the industry leaders who normalized pistols coming from the manufacturers, ready to mount optics, ready to mount suppressors, and with the ability to have factory suppressor height sights on them. They did a very good job with this pistol, and I love it, and that's one of the reasons why I rely on it for my home defense pistol. I'm not doing a review or anything like that on this pistol, I'm just kind of talking about it. That being said, one of the things that does drive me nuts is the safety right here. I'm not a huge fan of safety switches on my pistols. Obviously 45s have them and a few other ones do. I'm not a huge fan of that. This does have the ability to decock it if you wanted, and then you can run the pistol with the safety off, but then you get that long, hard trigger pull to make it go boom. So a lot of people say that it's just too big and bulky, which I understand. I have big hands, and so to me, that's not a big issue. Other people that I know who shoot this, who have a different frame than I do, they don't really like this pistol. That being said, I do plan on upgrading this at some point to the new 45 that FN has released. That one, if I remember correctly, is the 545, which follows the standard suit of all their other 5 series pistols, 502, 509, 510, all of those that have all of the same features, just based on their caliber are a little bit different. And so it's still a 45 that holds, I think maybe 18 rounds or something like that, but it doesn't have the exterior selector switch, and I find that the grip angle and the grip itself is just more comfortable on the new 45 the FN has released. I haven't upgraded yet. But when I do, that will most likely become my new home defense pistol, and then this one will just ride in the safe and get pulled out onto the range to get dirty and beat on, well, which is actually pretty much every pistol that I have. Now I know I said this is gonna go back on my nightstand, which it will, but I'm gonna go into town, take care of a few things, and so I'm gonna leave this inside the safe to hang out with the other pistols. Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate your time. If you haven't done so, I ask that you consider subscribing to our channel, along with sharing and liking this video. If you're on social media, so are we. Imagine that. We have Facebook and Instagram that doesn't do much because they kind of suppress our content. Imagine that. But we're on Discord. If you're on Discord, well, we have a link in the description of this video that'll take you directly to our Discord channel, which is one of the best ways to communicate with us directly. So jump in the comments there. We have a lot going on in Discord. Also, if you like stickers and patches and rad merchandise, you can visit intuitivedefense.com. Get some stickers which look good on safes. You can get some patches which look good on gear. We have coffee mugs if you're a coffee drinker, which I really hope you are, because coffee is life. We have this rad coffee mug right here. And we have some other designs that'll be coming soon. But that is going to be it for this video, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good day. Oh my God, it's so dark in here. Oh, there it is. Whew, I got scared for a second. All right, see you later.